Today, I'm going to talk about the shooting in Las Vegas, which we talked about a few times before. It was the worst um, shooting in modern U.S. history, and 58 were killed, and hundreds, or over 500, were hurt. They were all sitting in the stadium there uh, without a cover on it at the MGM, and which holds 22,000 in that wide open field. Um, the case is real interesting. Well, for one thing, MGM filed 1,000 lawsuits uh, last week against all the victims, the people that died, and all the ones that got hurt. I guess it would be the children too, or and the ones that died. I don't know if the states are set up, but it had to be filed by the people against the people and on the estates. But the case is very interesting because MGM could have had the case thrown out, but they had to show two items. One, that they had this security systems hired that took their building and had it secured, and it was approved by the government, and they had two of them involved, and those two people, the test on them passed. And the only other thing they would have to show to completely get out of the case was the fact that the shooter was not a terrorist, or they get to show he was a terrorist. If he was a terrorist, then they're out if they showed the first two items. But that's another problem. Was he a terrorist? I don't think so. He never really did anything wrong in his past history, and he had no claims against him, no criminal claims against him. He was never involved in terrorist activity like some of these people. And even his doctor said that he had a troubled mind, but thoroughly. They just closed their case after 10 months. They filed a report, 100 pages. And the main thing in the report, it's over, is what drove a gunman like this guy, Stephen Paddock, to go up in his room, Mandalay Bay, and start shooting with an automatic gun. I don't know. They don't know. They checked him out thoroughly in every direction. They can't find out anything wrong with him mentally or anything like that, or he ever did this before. And that year at MGM, he spent $1 million gambling. So, I mean, I would say the man's a pretty good customer. And I would think they probably had a room reserved for him or whatever. He'd go in and out. Because the next question comes up, well, how did he get these 32 guns into the room without them seeing them? Or should they have seen them? Or should they have searched his room or whatever? But if he's there year round and he lost $1 million or played with $1 million, I mean, they probably had a room on reserve for him. I don't know. I didn't read the 187-page report. But if they have a room on reserve for him, he's going in and out. And over a year, I mean, he could bring a couple guns here and a couple guns, his room. Couple guns there. I would think it maybe was his room because they had guards in Mandalay Bay. In fact, there was one on the floor, I think, at the end that shot him. That's who shot him, a guard, and killed him. But I don't know. I don't really see the negligence. And naturally, they can all shoot the shooter, which would be Stephen Paddock. But I think he had a few houses, but what else did he have? I mean, you got 58 death cases, and then you got hundreds of injury cases here, probably over 500, and that's going to run into the millions. But I don't know if there is a case here with these guns. And if there's no case where they can't sue the hotel for negligence for letting the guns in, then these people are going to get absolutely nothing. Now, one thing that the lawyers for MGM did, they filed some lawsuits last week. They filed 1,000 lawsuits. And in those lawsuits, they went back to a 2002 case, which
What about the
talked about the
country music festival?
which talked about the
Could they be liable? No.
well, the 2002 case, which talked about the first two elements that we talked about, terrorists, and there's never been a suit filed under that law,
Yeah.
but terrorists, and then also that did they have these security systems from these big companies sign off, security. And the hotels, they had that for their hotels, as far as I can see. But now they can't take security systems and turn them into protection of some guy up in the Mandalay Bay. And actually Mandalay Bay, his room, if I recall, was almost 300 yards away from where these people were sitting outside in the field. 300 yards is 3 football fields, so it's not like there's no way he could pick out one person and pick them. He just had to start shooting into the field with all the people sitting there, and whoever he hit, he hit. He didn't know anybody, and he wasn't trying to shoot a certain person.
Yeah.
But this case, I know the sheriff, the police department of Las Vegas worked on it for 10 months. They filed the 887-page report, and frankly, and since he spent $1 million there this last year, and he was a real good customer of the hotel, I don't think they're negligent for this guy going in and out. I'm assuming he had that room probably for a month at a time. Maybe he had it for the whole year. And you can't watch somebody every single day going out of the room. And I don't know if that's negligence. And if that's not negligence, which would go to the hotel, these people are going to get nothing. The only thing they could get would be what assets that the shooter had,
Yeah.
Stephen Paddock, and I don't think he had that much. He might have had a few pieces of real estate. He had just sent his girlfriend $100,000 to buy a house, I think in Japan or China, right before this happened. He sent it to her over there. She admitted she got it. And he sent her the money for her to buy a house there, or whatever. But this is just crazy with these facts, and I don't see anything that this guy did wrong in his previous history that would alert anybody. And I don't see negligence, to tell you the truth. I really think in these cases, the people are going to get nothing. Thank you.
That's sad.